Today I'm going to tell you about 3 of the most important battles of the American Revolution. So let's get started. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Virtual History 360. I'm Mr. Wade and I love history, and I bet you do too. That's why you're watching this video. So be sure to check out my other videos in this playlist to watch something that you're going to find helpful. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video to find out how the people of Saratoga memorialized Benedict Arnold. But we'll get to that. First, let's talk about the war itself. I hope you're all aware that the colonists defeated the British, which is why we have the United States today. We can talk about a lot of different things, but today I want to focus on 3 main battles and their importance to the war itself, talking about Trenton, Saratoga, and Yorktown. Let's get started in 1776 and Trenton. You see, it is still early in the war and things are not looking good for the Continentals. In December, Washington and his men escaped to Pennsylvania after several defeats. Between deaths, desertion, and enlistments coming to an end, Washington had lost about half of his army. This is when Thomas Paine publishes The Crisis, which boosts morale for his troops and the people. In it, he talks about the summer soldier and the sunshine patriot. Basically, he was shaming the people who quit once it got hard. Think of it like the fair weather fan in sports, the guy who only likes a team when it's winning. Well, you see, Washington really needs to swing the momentum of the war in his favor to keep this going. And knowing that most armies will call a ceasefire during the winter months, and that more men are about to leave at the end of the month, he acts. So he uses information from a spy and he plans a sneak attack on the Hessians at Trenton. Now, although it doesn't go off perfectly, it is successful and the Continentals are able to capture 900 prisoners while only 2 of their men die from exposure to the cold. This was a decisive victory for the Patriots. It showed that the Americans could win a battle. This boosted morale, which in turn led men to extend their enlistments. So when things looked bad, they took a turn for the better. Now, of course, it was not all good, but the fight was able to be continued. So let's move on to our next battle, Saratoga. The year is 1777 and the British have decided to attack from the north with over 7,000 soldiers. They are led by General John Burgoyne. But here's the thing, he was expecting more. When planning this assault, the British initially planned to have General Howe march north and double their forces around Washington's army. Well, plans change, and in this instance, General Howe decided to march to Philadelphia instead. This left Burgoyne and his 7,000 men to go up against Washington's 12,000 troops. The fighting takes place over 2 battles in 18 days, and in the end, the Americans were able to capture 6,222 British soldiers en route to another decisive battle victory. But that's not why this battle was such a big deal. You see, Ben Franklin was sent to France to negotiate for aid. With this victory, the French were convinced that we had a chance, and they agreed to support us. Not only with supplies, but with ships and soldiers. This would prove to be a key element in winning the war, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move on to our 3rd battle, Yorktown. The year is 1781, and the man in charge of the British Army was Lord Cornwallis. Now, he has been moving freely through the South, taking out pockets of patriots with the help of loyalists. And as he moved back through Virginia, he is being chased by Washington and the Americans. Now, this didn't stop him from trying to capture Thomas Jefferson by sending dragoons, but that's a story for another day. Back to this. Anyway, after moving through Williamsburg, Cornwallis made for Yorktown, where he expected to be reinforced by the British fleet, which was sailing south from New York. Well, to his dismay, the French Navy was able to repel the British ships and they blocked the Chesapeake Bay. At the same time, American and French soldiers set up a perimeter that kept Cornwallis from escaping by land. For a month, American and French forces laid siege on Yorktown and slowly, but consistently, captured redoubt after redoubt until they were within firing range of Cornwallis. Realizing it was hopeless to continue, Cornwallis formally surrendered. But he was conveniently sick the day of the surrender ceremony, sending his second-in-command in his place. Washington, being the virtuous and humble man that he was, took the opportunity to send his second, a man named Benjamin Lincoln, to accept the sword of surrender. Why is this a big deal? Well, back in 1780, Cornwallis embarrassed Lincoln at Charleston, South Carolina by treating him like an enlisted man instead of an officer when he surrendered. This was a way to redeem Lincoln's reputation. And, of course, just because the British had surrendered doesn't mean the war just stopped. There were still skirmishes all over, plus, without a treaty, the major hostilities could resume at any time. The war was not officially over until the Treaty of Paris 1783 was signed. But it is Yorktown that is remembered as the last major battle. Now, what about Benedict Arnold? You probably remember him as the most famous traitor in American history. He tried to sell West Point to the British. This was in 1780 and he had fallen into financial ruin and saw this as a way to make some money. But before his fall from grace, he was an outstanding general who led from the front. At the Battle of Saratoga, more specifically Bemis Heights, his decisions were key to the Americans winning the battle. He was actually wounded in the leg, but continued to fight. So, to remember the heroism of Arnold, you will find a memorial on the Saratoga battlefield of a boot. There is no name engraved on it because of his treason, but the marker still stands. Tell you what, leave a comment below telling me what you think about the story of Benedict Arnold. Now, while you're there, go ahead and hit that like button for me and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to check out my other videos, like the ones you see over here. I have other history videos, other civics videos, as well as ones shot in 360, so check them out. For Virtual History 360, I'm Mr. Wade. I'll see you next time.